to take a moment to look at them, kind of think about what exactly is going on, what are these pictures, and why might I be grouping all of them together. So take a few seconds to think about that. Does anyone have any thoughts? Yes?
I think of energy.
Energy, great, yeah, that's exactly it. So all of these things are either sources of energy or they help create energy. Awesome. So I just want to point out a couple specific ones. Let's start with this one here. I know it's hard to see, but what do you think this is? Anyone? Like coal. Coal, yeah, great. What's happening to the coal? Sort of
Being burned.
being burnt. Very good. All right, great. So I know these two have words on them, but does anyone want to comment? Maybe where have you seen them in your daily life? Erin.
Gas gives you energy for your car.
Absolutely. So you use both gas and oil in your car. Maybe your parents filled up their gas tank on the way to school this morning. That's definitely possible. And how about this picture down here? What's going on here?
Pollution.
Pollution, that's a great word. Yeah, so what is this?
Smoke.
Smoke, awesome, great. Okay, so why do you think I asked you about those specific photos? What do they all have in common? Does anyone know how to describe those words? Corey.
They're all sources of renewable energy.
Renewable?
No.
Non-renewable.
Non-renewable.
Awesome, thank you, Corey. So that brings us to our topic today is what are non-renewable resources? Okay, so in the most basic form, non-renewable resources are a source of energy, like Sienna said. So a couple cool things about energy is energy cannot be destroyed, but it can be changed. More on that a little bit later. So a main category of fossil fuels, a main category of non-renewable resources is fossil fuels. So mainly when we think about non-renewable resources, we're thinking about fossil fuels. And this is natural fuel that's derived from the remains of dead plants and organisms, usually found deep into the ground. Great. So in order to make a fossil fuel, it takes loads of time, heat, and pressure. And just a fun fact, it takes at least 10,000 years for a fossil fuel to actually form, which is a really long time. Great, so from this diagram, I just want to show you guys. So don't worry about these words down here, you probably can't read them. Anyway, so here we have our decaying dead plants and organisms, and pressure and heat is added. So as you can see, over time, it gets smaller and smaller, and it's compressed into our fossil fuel. So I know I have them up on the board. So a couple examples of fossil fuels, we have coal and oil and gas, and those were all things that we saw on my original slide. So those are all types of fossil fuels. And a cool thing about fossil fuels is they are combustible. Does anyone know what that word means? Lena?
You can burn it.
Right, so combustible means that you can burn it, and with fossil fuels, typically you burn the fossil fuels in order to release the energy that they can provide. So, relating to my original point about energy being changed, that's kind of where that comes in. So you burn the fossil fuels, you take heat energy, and then you change it into something different. So the gas that's used to power your car, stuff like that. Any questions about anything so far? Okay. Awesome. Okay, so this is just a picture showing how coal here is being used, and it's being thrown into a fire, and that's how it's being used to create energy. Okay, so like the name kind of lends out for itself, non-renewable resources can only be used once. So once you use up all the energy, it's gone, you can't get it back. All right, so using all of the knowledge that we've learned so far, so it takes a really long time for fossil fuels to form, and once they're gone, they are gone forever. What do you think this means? What could possibly happen because of this? Addie?
If we don't find different sources for energy, then we won't be able to have energy.
Very true. So there could be some sort of shortage. We might run out. Awesome. can I get 5 volunteers to come up here and help me with a little simulation? Erin, Becca, Andrea, Corey, one more? Addie, come on up. Thank you. You guys just want to stand over to the sides of our square. So if anyone can't see, feel free to come closer to the front, but I'll also be explaining it as I go. So up here I have this square taped on the ground. This is all of the oil that is available for people to use, okay? And you lucky people are going to be able to claim some oil today. So, Andrea is a lucky gal. She's super wealthy. She has great access to oil because of her geographical location. So here you go, that's how you're going to be using to claim oil. Erin, also awesome, can claim a good amount of oil. Over here we have Becca. She's about like middle income, maybe a little bit further away from access, but you know, still not bad. Addie, awesome, same thing. Corey, low income, probably doesn't have a great geographical location, and same with me. So, we're all going to get a chance to claim oil. Naturally, our wealthier contestants can go first. So go ahead, Erin and Andrea. Go ahead and claim your oil.
You just put it down?
Yep, so you just put it down, make it as big as you can. And then you middle of the road people, if you guys want to go ahead and claim your oil, try your best. Awesome. Corey, go ahead.
Don't wait, you're losing.
Yeah, I think. Okay, great. Yep. Don't be greedy. You need this. Oh, you left a space for me. Or not really. All right, I'm not even gonna try. So thank you to my lovely volunteers. You guys can sit down. All right, so just a quick explanation of what happened here. So Andrea and Erin were lucky enough. They have really good access to oil, and they have maybe perhaps a lot of wealth. So they got to claim a really great amount of this oil. That's all of the existence can have. And Erin and Becca, they got a little bit. Becca, it looks like you struggled a little bit getting your oil. And Corey and I definitely struggled to get some. I really didn't even get a chance to get any. So we didn't even all get a fair share of non-renewable resource to use for energy. So basically, it's important to remember that even though we may see oil and gas in our daily lives, that's just definitely not the case for everyone. So not everyone is getting a chance to use these resources. And also, although it may not be in the immediate future, there may be a shortage, and we may run low, we may run out. No one really knows, but that's not a good thing. Also, it's very damaging to the environment. Does anyone have a guess of why it would be damaging to the environment to use these resources? Lena.
They're all underground, so you have to get them out somehow.
That's good. Does anyone have anything else they want to share? Well, okay, so I will explain. So, when we burn fossil fuels, this releases CO2 or carbon dioxide into the air. And as you may know, carbon dioxide is not something that we want to be breathing in, because we breathe in oxygen and then carbon dioxide comes out as a waste. It also can make the earth way too hot. So, as you can see from my diagram, fossil fuels are being burned, carbon 2 emission, whatever the carbon 2 that's being, carbon dioxide that's being released, rises the surface temperature of the earth, which makes the earth too hot. And that contributes to global warming. Have you guys heard of global warming before? Yep. Awesome. Okay, so thank you all for listening. We are going to do a little bit of a review exercise. So I'm going to come around and pass these out. These sheets have a T on one side and an F on the other. And T stands for true, F stands for false. I'm just going to have you guys continue passing that. And I'm going to ask you guys, or I'm going to show you guys some true-false statements on the board. And when you think you have an answer to true or false, just hold up whether you think it's true or false. So T, true, F, false. Does that make sense to everyone? Awesome. I'll just wait till everyone has their sheets. Great, okay, here we go. Fossil fuels are created from rocks and minerals. Hold them up. Looks like the general consensus is false. Very good. So what are they actually made of? Just shout it out. Dead plants and organisms. Very good. False. Energy can be destroyed. Nice job. False. Good job, guys. So, what can energy do? It can be changed. Awesome. Nice listening. Okay, fossil fuels are combustible. Great, everyone got that? True? Non-renewable resources can only be used once. True. Good job. To release energy from fossil fuels, you must add water. False. Nice job. What do you add? Heat. Heat. Very good, everyone. Burning fossil fuels releases CO2 into the air. Nice job. True. Coal is an example of a fossil fuel. Very good. Wood is an example of a fossil fuel. False. Very good. Can anyone think of the other examples that I talked about of fossil fuels? Shout them out. Oil. Gas. Awesome job. All right, so that's it for our review. I just have one last thing that I'd like for you guys to do, but first I'll talk about our homework. So for homework tonight, I'm going to give you guys a worksheet, and it's going to have a list of all sorts of natural resources. So using your knowledge about non-renewable resources, I'd like you to divide them into two groups, non-renewable, and then what do you think the second group would be? Renewable, awesome. So this will be kind of like a precursor into our lesson next time. We'll be talking about renewable energy. So this will kind of be a using of the knowledge that you learned today, and then also using that knowledge to make inferences. Sound good? Great, okay, so last thing we'll do today is just a quick review. So on your T and F sheets, on the T side I've written something that I learned today. So if everyone can go ahead and write down something that they've learned. And when you're done, you can flip it over to the F side, and that is you write down a question that you may have from today's lesson. Bless you. And just look up when you're all set.